welcome back. It has been a minute. I have missed y'all, and it has been crazy in my life for sure. We've had sickness hit, we've had back to back surgeries. Now we're selling our house. I'm telling y'all, if y'all see me in the corner with my seam ripper rocking, please get me some help. But we are going to create something really cute. It's the beginning of the year, and I love organizing and reorganizing and all the things. So I thought, let's do a quick little, I don't know what you want to call this, like maybe a little caddy that you can put on your bathroom counter, on a dresser. You can take it with you and put it in your car, whatever you want to use it for. It's nice and soft and a little floppy, but look at all these pockets inside, okay? And I want to just give you an example if you want to use it for like makeup brushes. And I got this idea because my daughter has a ton of makeup. And so at Christmas time, she really wanted some storage that could house all of it so she doesn't have to have multiple containers. Look at this. So I kind of made her a custom one, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if other people might need, some storage on their counter? But look. It's got pockets for everything. And anyway, you just keep stuffing it. And then it's got the center area where, like, if you wanted to take some lotions, and place it in there, there's so much room. See all this room? There's so much room for whatever it is that you need. If you are going to put it on a dresser, you can put diapers in it. And wipes, and it'd be cute on a dresser. Gosh, you could put snacks in it. There's a lot of uses for this little caddy. So we're going to make one today, and it's going to come in 2 sizes. Okay. The pattern is going to be on sewforiastudio.com. And so you will get a small kind of mini caddy and a large caddy in that pattern. Okay. So today we're going to do the larger size. All right. So go ahead and go online, grab that pattern. The fabric that we are using is a cotton material. Okay. So I'm using a cotton on the outside, and I'm using a cotton for our lining. All right. And I'm also using a high loft batting. Okay. And, so if you are one where you really want some firmness to it, or real, structure, you don't like the floppiness, then you can substitute it for some foam stabilizer. Okay. It's really easy to use. So, that's kind of up to you. But you also want to have some straight pins or binder clips. You want to have yourself a marking pin. A walking foot would be great for this project. Grab yourself a rotary cutter and some scissors. And then lastly, have yourself a ruler, okay? Because we're going to need that with our pocket lines, okay? And the pocket, y'all, is optional. You do not have to have the pocket in it. This is totally customizable for whatever it is that you need, all right? All right, so go ahead and cut your items out, and I'll see you back here. And let's get started. Okay, guys, I forgot to mention one thing that you do need, and that is your basting spray, your temporary adhesive. Okay, I use the 505. There is a link in the description. And so grab that, because what we're going to do is we're going to start quilting. That is the first thing that we're going to do here. So take 1 layer of your high loft, okay, and then take your outside circle piece, all right? And what you're going to do is just fold that in half where right sides are touching each other, all right? Let me kind of scoot this out of the way here. All right, and then take your spray, and then we're just going to spray this half here, not over here, because I don't know, it does something weird. So just spray this half of your fabric. All right, and then we're going to lay it down. Smooth that out. Now lift back the second half, spray it, and smooth it down. And for those of you that are new, basting spray kind of helps temporarily hold that fabric to your batting. And so it's just awesome because you don't end up having to use a lot of pins. But if you don't have any, it's okay. Use your pins and kind of pin around it to hold it. I would pin inside as well to hold it, just so that it doesn't do a whole lot of shifting on you. Okay. All right. Do the same thing to your side piece. All right. And then now let's draw our lines so that we can have something as a guide for our stitching. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is take our ruler. We're going to find the center. All right, so find your center. You can fold it, you know, measure it, whatever you want to do, but find your center and then take your ruler and you're going to draw a line. All right. And once you draw that line, that first line, then we're going to draw outward. And we're going to do that every 2 inches, okay? You can, you know, do your spacing however you like, but I'm just measuring from the line to here 2 inches. Look how cute these monster trucks are, y'all. I gotta show them. How adorable are those? Oh, they're so cute. And I love all the colors. Okay, you've drawn your lines. So the first thing you're gonna do is go ahead and stitch right on those lines, okay? So go ahead and do that and I'll see you back here. All right, for those who are new, you want to make sure that your line is in the middle of your presser foot. Now I have my walking foot on now, okay? And the reason why you would like to use a walking foot when you're using this batting for stitching, so that the bottom batting layer and your fabric will move together, okay? You want it to move together. If not, what can happen is that top layer, your material, will kind of lag behind a little bit, okay, as you're stitching. And so the quilting walking foot has feed dogs on the bottom of it, and it grabs and moves the fabric just like it does on your machine here, okay? So put that line in the center. You don't have to reverse or anything, and just stitch directly on that line. And I'm starting in the center. And I'm off my line, and pay attention. Y'all, it's hard to sew and try to record at the same time because the camera's in your way. All right, and keep doing that for all of your lines, okay? Okay, now that you have your lines all stitched, go over to the iron, and I'm using a disappearing ink that disappears with heat. So you can go ahead and iron, and then those lines will come off, okay? And now we're going to do the same thing to our side rectangular piece, all right? And then I'll see you back. Okay, all of our quilting is done, all right? And one of the things, we didn't really discuss it, I just, you know, want to point it out though, because I don't want anybody coming for me in the comments. When you cut your batting, cut it a little bit bigger than your fabric, okay? And what that does is it leaves room for any shifting going on as you do your quilting, okay? So that's why you'll notice that my batting is a little bit bigger than my actual fabric. And also that it's not even cut in the same shape, okay? So don't even waste your time trying to cut it even in the same shape. So once you do your quilting, then go ahead and take your scissors and you're going to now trim to the fabric, okay? So go ahead and trim to the fabric, and you're going to do that for your circle as well as for your rectangular side, okay? All right, we're all trimmed up. Now the next thing I want you to do is take your rectangular piece and we're going to bring right sides together. Those little short ends that we have, we're just going to bring those right sides together here. And we are going to put a pin in it. If you like it, then you should have put a pin in it. Y'all been waiting so long for that, haven't you? I know you have. All right. And we're going to just pin all the way down this little short side here, okay? And we are going to stitch this at 3/8 of a seam allowance, okay? So go ahead and pin. All right, let's go over to the machine. All right, so in case you're new, seam allowance is the distance from the edge of your fabric to your stitch line. That space in between is called seam allowance. And it's gonna vary depending on, what project you're doing and who wrote your instructions. But for our particular one today, it's 3/8 of an inch. So that means I wanna make sure that my needle position is 3/8 of an inch from the edge of my fabric, okay, as I'm stitching along here. And I like to have a guide, so normally I like to use the edge of my presser foot as my guide. So I'm going to place, this little ruler here is a seam guide ruler, okay, by Madam Sew, okay? And so what it does is it has different seam allowances on it to kind of help you with placement. So if I want the edge of my presser foot to be my placement, then I want to make sure my needle is over 3/8 of an inch. So if I lift up, and if you'll see here, 3/8 of an inch is right there, and that's the hole for it. And then if I slide all the way up, still keeping a line here, I'm going to turn my hand wheel that's on the side of my machine, scoot up a little bit more, and then look. My needle goes right down. So I don't even have to move my needle because it is 3/8 of an inch over. So you can get you one of those handy tools. I love it. It's fabulous. I don't have to guess anymore. All right. So now I'm just going to lower my presser foot down. I'm going to stitch forward and reverse. And then I'm going to continue all the way down. I do not sew over the pins, all right? And reason why I don't sew over the pins, somebody asked me that once, to make sure that I explain that to you all. Y'all, I love y'all. I love your comments. Y'all are funny to me. And you're precious. So the reason why I personally, it's your preference. The reason why I personally don't sew over pins unless I really, really have to, is because that needle can come down and hit that pin and break and come right at you, okay? So it's really a safety thing to me. So, but like I said, and I know they have pins out there that you can sew over and you don't really have to worry too much about that, but it's just not something that I do. I'm old school, old school. So keep on going. Take the pins out as you go, or stitch over, whatever floats your boat. All right, as you see here, you can get a little bit of batting kind of bunching up. Just lift up your presser foot, but keep your needle down, okay? When you lift up that presser foot, make sure your needle is down. Go all the way to the bottom and reverse. Back stitch, okay? All right, good job. All right, now we're going to do some pin placement, kind of sectioning off this, this caddy here, so that we make sure we match up the circle to the bottom pretty good. All right, so I want to make sure I'm at the bottom. So if you see here, if you're looking in, we're at the top. This is the top here. So let's turn it over so that everything is upside down, because we want to make sure that we are attaching, cut this string, we are attaching our circle to the bottom and not to the top. We do not want our print upside down if you have a directional print, and mine is a directional print. All right, so have it upside down. All right, and what I want to do is I want to put pins in 4 sections. All right, we'll have the back, which we really don't have to put a pin here because it's got the seam as our guide. But then we want to find the center of the front and the center of the 2 sides. All right, so how I do that is I just take where my seam is, turn your bag a little bit, your caddy. I keep wanting to call it a bag, I'm not sure why. But turn it and then straighten it out. Okay, so if you straighten it out, see how I'm holding this side all the way over to this side. All right, what I'm going to do, that's my center. I'm going to put a pin there. And for me, I have a stitch there, but I'm going to put a pin because I can see that easier than trying to see my stitch in this batting. Oh my gosh, can y'all can't even see that. Look, there you go. Now you can see. All right. Now what we're going to do is take this pin right here. We're going to now match it up with that center back. Okay, remember that seam? See how we're like this. Okay, I want you to be confused. We're like this. Now we're going to match this up with this guy just by doing this. All right, so we match those 2 up. So now that pin is matching up with my back seam. Okay, y'all see that? You're so good. Now we're going to come off to the side here, keeping it nice and straight, and we're going to put a pin here. We're not pinning this together, we're just pinning the center. Okay, again, I have a stitch there. All right, bring it back to the center. Back to the center. I should start like Miss Ann's guide for sewing postures. We have songs, we have hand gestures, we have sayings. All right, anyway, come over here to the side and put your pin there. All right, so now you can see, except for, not having a pin there, but that's our, if we had placed a pin there, that's our center back seam. All right, you'll see we've got the front and we've got the 2 sides. All right, good. Now we'll sit that over to the side. We are going to do the same thing to this guy. All right, remember our center marking. All right, so we're just going to put straight pin there, straight pin at the bottom here, so I need to do a little ironing. Now we are going to fold and match up these 2 pins, and then we're just going to come around this curve here, find our center. We're going to put a pin there. All right, come back to the center, Follow this side of the curve. And what I'm doing is I'm checking, to make sure that I'm matching up my curve, okay? And then put a pin. All right, so now if you look, we've got 4. Get in the frame, Miss Ann. We've got 4 little sections there, all right? So we're gonna match this up with this guy, all right? Now, let's take it and we are gonna put right sides together, all right? We're gonna take and match up our centers. All right, see how I match those 2 pins up? I'm just gonna take one out and pin it. Actually, let me do it on top there. Okay. Ow, sticking myself. All right. Go to the next one, match it up. And make sure you're lining up your fabric as well. Go to your next one. Now your next one's going to be your back seam, okay? Match that up. Pin it. And then do your last one. Y'all are doing so good. Match it up, line it up. Match it up, line it up. All right. Y'all can tell I was a cheerleader back in my day. I know. Rah, rah, shish, kumbah. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put pins all the way around this bottom circle. Okay. And so you're just going to match up your circle with the rectangle, just lining it up and put a pin in it. All right, this is what your circle should look like. Look at that. Tweety birds. Oh my gosh, this looks like if you put it in a circle, it almost looks like, what was that? Sylvester? Was it Sylvester the cat? And the birds would fly around him when he hit his head. The old cartoons. All right. And this is how your bag should look if you sit it upright. All right. Now let's go stitch it on. Again, we're going to do 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'll see you at the machine. Okay, we are going to start in the back. You can see where my seam is here. I just have it fanned open. All right. And we are going to stitch all the way around. I have my bag opening here to the right. If y'all can see that, it's hanging off to the right. All right. So that it's just a little bit easier in going around this circle. Okay. If you try to turn it the other way, you're going to have too much bulk going on right here and you'll be fighting with it. Trust me. All right. So let's start just before that little pin there. Line yourself up. All right. You're going to stitch forward and reverse. And then we're going to go on around this circle. Now, if you need to, stop periodically and line yourself up. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. All right, get right back on top of where you began. and back stitch, okay? Very good. Cut your threads. Okay, we have our circle on. Look at that. Oh, that's so cute. That is super cute. I love it. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to trim away some of the seam allowance, okay? I know you're asking when we're saying if we were going to trim it away, why did we do 3/8 of an inch? Well, because it's easier to sew and then trim away than trying to stitch something very, very skinny, okay? When you're dealing with two bulky pieces like that, all right? So I'm glad I answered that question for y'all that you didn't even ask. All right, so grab you some pinking shears if you have pinking shears, or you can take, your regular scissors. And we're just gonna, cut about half of this off. Do not cut your stitch line, okay? And just go all the way around. And then what you can do is flip it to the right side, okay? All right, we got that all trimmed away. We are turning it to the right side. And what's also helpful with that trimming is it allows the fabric to relax as you flip it to the right side, especially if you use those pinking shears, because we're dealing with a circle. And it lets that circle sit out nicely. See there? Just like so. Oh. All right, just make sure it's all out all the way around. You can give it a good press. And look at there. We have our outside of our bag. All right. Now, let's grab your pocket. All right, what you're going to do is take your pocket and you're going to open it up hot dog style, okay? And what you're going to do is fold it right sides together, okay? Pretty side to pretty side, okay? Fold it hot dog style and line it up, and you're going to stitch all the way down, okay? So let's get some pins. So if you get you some pins, make sure you line it up with each other, okay? And then you're going to put a pin in it, just like so, okay? Again, we're going to stitch this 3/8 of an inch all the way down, okay? This is the long side. All right, I'll see you back here in just a moment. Okay, y'all, we are moving right along. So now we're going to press this seam open that we've created, okay? So just take it, and I just kind of slid it over to like the middle where it can just lay and nothing's, kind of underneath that'll fold or crease up. And you're just going to open up that seam, all right? Grab your iron. Now, if you have a big iron, you might still crease your sides, and that's okay. But go ahead and just press that seam, okay? Do that all the way down your pocket piece, okay? All right, and now what you're going to do is let's flip it to the right side. All right. Now, you see where our seam is going along here? I'm going to position this seam so that it is 1/2 inch from the top, okay? So I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to position it so it's 1/2 inch from the top, and then I'm going to press I'm going to press the top and I'm going to press the bottom. Okay. Let me scoot this up so y'all can see it a little bit better. All right, let's see. Let's move it up a little bit. All right. So we are about a 1/2 inch from the top there, and I'm going to press. So like I said, I'm pressing here and I'm pressing at the bottom. All right. So do that all the way down. Okay. All right, everybody, we are pressed. Okay. This is that seam that we had created, and we've gotten it pressed out where it's just a 1/2 inch space there. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is we are going to stitch 1/4 inch on the left side of this seam, and we're going to stitch 1/4 inch on the right side of the seam. Okay. So I'm going to put my seam in the middle, and then I'm going to move my needle position over. Okay. Now this is just top stitching, so you can increase your stitch length here if you'd like. That's, you know, that's up to you. But stitch all the way down. You don't have to reverse here. Okay, that looks so good. So look at that. That is going to be the top of our pocket. All right. Now let's go draw our lines. All right. Lay your pocket, you know, where you can see your double stitches and your seam. Okay. And what I did was I folded it, you know, kind of hot dog style. I mean, not hot dog style, hamburger style, where I can find the center, and I just ironed it. Okay, so that I had a little crease there. And now I'm going to draw a line. Okay. All right, I'm just going to draw a line down the center here. Make sure I'm lined up. All right. Now, once I've drawn that line, now y'all, you can do your divider for whatever it is that you're using. If you're doing, say for instance, you're doing yarn, and yarn's going to be in your main part, and you want your pockets for your crochet needles or your knit needles, you know, you don't need really big pockets. You need skinnier pockets. If you're doing art supplies or what have you, again, use your pockets or section off your pockets for whatever your use is going to be. We're going to put like toys in this, monster trucks, or like the smaller cars. And so I don't need really, really big pockets. So I'm just going to do something where I'm going to do 3 inches. All my pockets are just going to be 3 inches. That's what I'm going to do for this particular one. Now for our makeup bag here, I did, let's see, what did I do? I did a 4-inch pocket, and then I did like a couple 3-inch pockets and a couple 2-inch pockets. Okay. And there'll be a diagram for you. Excuse me. There'll be a diagram for you in the pattern for different options depending on, you know, what your use is going to be. But you just kind of customize these pocket sections how you want. So we're just going to do 3 inches for our main pockets. And now when you get to the side, you know, it's not going to be, you know, totally even. And so you can just let that be a random size. All right. And once you have done all of your lines, Then grab your inside your lining rectangular piece, and we're going to end up attaching this to it. Okay. All right, we have our side rectangular piece that goes on the inside, and we've got our pocket, and we've got all of our lines drawn. Okay, so now I want you to position this pocket so that the bottom is in 1 inch from the bottom of the rectangle. Okay, so you just want to be 1 inch from the bottom. All right, so if I line up myself here with my ruler, then I'm going to position where I'm just 1 inch from the bottom. All right, you can go all the way down. All right, good. Does it look like I'm a little short? There we go. Okay. I was about to say. All right, here we go. Now we're going to put some pins in this. And where I'm pinning is, I'm pinning like here in between my lines here, okay? Because the first thing we're going to do is we are going to stitch down the sides and across the bottom and up this side. We're going to do that first, then we'll stitch each line, okay? Again, we're going to stitch down the side, okay? And this is going to be at 1/4 inch when we go down the side and across the bottom, okay? Just 1/4 inch seam allowance there, real tiny. Then we'll come back and we'll stitch each line, okay? Now you want to make sure that you back stitch at the top of that pocket start line as well as at the bottom, just for, because it's going to get a lot of pull right there, okay? So we want that to be nice and secured, all right? So go ahead and pin, stitch your lines, and I'll see you back here and we'll have our pockets all done. Keep going, you're almost there. All right, we got our pockets in. Look at that. We got them in. Good job. That looks really good. Doesn't that look like flames? I thought about that with the monster truck. So I got the monster truck fabric from Joann's as well as these flames from Joann's. May it rest in peace, Lord Jesus. So anyway, now we're going to do this just like we did our outside, okay? So that means we're going to put our right sides together, these two short sides. We're going to put right sides together, just like so, okay? Now, when you line it up, you see where your pockets, are lining up here? Try to line that up as well, okay? And then go ahead and put a pin in it. And now we're going to stitch straight down 3/8 of an inch. Okay. All right. Now we're going to work on our bottom circle for our inside piece. Okay. Now I'm using batting. And you can use foam here if you want to. Like I said, if you want this caddy to be firm, then, you can use some foam. That would work really good for you. If you want to pile in some interfacing, that's really up to you, but I'm just going to use some batting for this project. So, and it, makes it a little floppy, but that's what I like. So you do you. So again, we're going to do this just like we did on our outside piece. So fold it in half and then flatten it out. The only difference is we're not quilting this. I'm not quilting it. I'm just going to stitch 1/4 of an inch on the outside just to attach that batting for when we put it to the bottom, okay? And just smooth that out. And y'all, when I'm talking about foam, I'm talking about just the sewing foam, not the like foam cushions that you would put in a chair. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fusible. Well, they actually have it 3 different ways. You can get it with without any adhesion. You can do it fusible where it's fusible on one side. You can do it fusible where it's fusible on both sides. Okay. So that's the foam I'm talking about. All right. So now, like I said, we're going to stitch just close to the edge here, about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and that's going to hold this to our batting so that we can attach it to the bottom of our lining piece. Okay, so go ahead and stitch that and trim this off, and we will match up both pieces. Good job. All right, let's find our 4 points here. Okay. Y'all are doing good. Okay. All right. That guy's done. Now, make sure we're at the bottom here. This is very important because you do not want your pockets upside down, okay? So, we're at the bottom here. And again, here's our back seam, all right? And we're going to just fold that. Y'all can see Miss Ann did not cut her threads at the bottom in the back. I sure didn't. On the front I did. I didn't on the back side. All right. We're going to put our pin there. Now we're going to match up that front center with the back center. And then we're going to come out the side here to find our side. Put a pin there. Very good. Come back to the center. Come out the side. Very good. All right. We got it all. Look at there. Look at there. That is not standing up. Y'all can tell that. All right. So now let's take this piece and we're going to put right sides together. Okay. Right sides touching each other. So the batting, we should be looking at the batting on the outside. So let's start in the back. So we got the back seam. We're going to match up with this birdie. Put our pin in it. All right. Let's match the next one up. Do that all the way around. All right. And once you've gotten them all the way around, finish pinning your circle, okay? And then I want you to stitch it just like you did the front, okay? You can do it. I believe in you. All right, keep pinning all the way around. Go ahead and stitch it. We are still stitching it at 3/8 of an inch. And I'll see you back here. All right. All right, we have got our bottom on. Look at there. And we did our trimming. You know what I just thought about? This, if you don't have the pockets in there, could double as An Easter basket. Huh. You put handles on it. Sure can. There you go. You're welcome. All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your outside, okay? Your outside should be showing on the outside, on the right side, okay? And you're going to sit it inside of the lining. Do you understand that? Take your outside, okay? It should be showing on the right side. And we're going to take it, we're going to sit it inside of the lining. Look at this. I know, logically it doesn't make any sense. Welcome to the world of linings. Okay, we want to position it so that our back seam of our outside is matching up with the back seam of our lining. Okay, and you can open up those seams there and match them. Okay, see there? So match those seams up right there. And let's put a pin in it. All right, last time tonight. If you like it, then you should have put a pin in it. Okay. All right, and now what you're going to do is you're going to pin all the way around, but we're going to leave an opening. We can leave an opening here on the back side, okay? Just about 6 inches so that you can pull this through, okay? So if we lay that flat here, we're going to put a double pin so you can pull it all out. And I always like to do a double pin on both sides of my opening so that if I'm talking, if I get pulled away, then I can see that double pin and know, stop, don't go any further. All right, so we're going to leave this part open, okay? And then we're going to continue. Now it's not going to naturally want to match up because of the bulkiness of the batting, but you can make it. All right, so keep going all the way around. All right, we got everything pinned, and now we're going to take our arm off. We are going to take our bag here, our caddy. We're going to slide it in here. And we're going to slide it so that we are starting over, not by the first set of double pins. Because if you start there, what's going to happen? You go stitch up your opening. Oh my gosh, y'all. I've had students look at me all beady-eyed because they stitched up their opening because they were talking or whatever else in class and wasn't paying attention. Anyway, so start where your double pins, your second group of double pins are. Lower your presser foot and everything. Take those babies out. We're 3/8 of an inch in, okay? Stitch forward and back stitch. And now we're going to go all the way around and stop when we get to the double pins. And back stitch again, okay? All right, keep going. We are almost there. One thing I want to mention is when you're going in a circle, what'll happen is sometimes it'll tighten down on your machine. And so what you want to do is make sure that you have a hand coming in and pulling that fabric forward. See if I can show you. Like have that hand coming in and where it's pulling that fabric forward. See how I'm pulling that fabric forward? That way it keeps moving. Otherwise, it'll tighten down as you're stitching. So if you're going along, see how it's starting to get smaller and smaller? So you want that fabric to come, that hand to come and pull forward like that. And that helps when you're doing things in a circle. Okay, we've gone all the way around and now we've got this opening, okay? And before we pull it out through that opening, what we want to do is we're going to fold this back, you know, where it's already got the stitch, the seam there. We're going to press it so that we can make this opening ready for alignment when we go to finish it off, okay? So just fold that back there and you can see it's going to naturally just go in line. Now be careful of the batting because you don't want it to melt on your iron. But just give it just a simple press. Okay? Flip it over. And if you can keep your batting out of the way, do the same thing on the other side. All right. Now, let's take it and flip it out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Oh my. Look at that. Is that not the cutest thing? Oh, this is so precious. Yeah, y'all. I'm telling you, my brain is going with the whole Easter basket. We make a handle. Maybe I need to do a part 2 or part 3. Actually, I am going to do a part 2 where we do a zipper closure at the top. So I think that would be fun. And those, we're going to use some foam in it to make it a little bit more firm. Look at that. I love that. All right, so now we're going to just finish pressing the top all the way around, and we're going to do a top stitch. And guess what, y'all? We're going to be done. All right, so go ahead and let's press this all the way around. When we're pressing, we're just going to make sure this is nice and straight. Okay, I'll see you back here. And so now here where our opening is, we are going to put some pins there to hold it in place so that it doesn't shift on us while we're stitching and we end up not closing up the hole. We don't want that. We want this baby closed up. All right. So now we are going to increase our stitch length, and I'm going to 4.0 on my machine just to give me a nice lengthy stitch. And you're just going to be a 1/4 of an inch from this edge, okay? We're just going to be a 1/4 of an inch from that edge, all right? I'm going to start here in the back. All right, don't start directly on that seam. That might be a little bit bulky for your machine, but you can start just in front of it, okay? All right, let's stitch all the way around, and this is our last step. And when I'm top stitching, I don't like to reverse because I think it just looks a little bit cleaner, and plus we're just top stitching, so I just go all the way around and get right back on top of where I began. Oh my goodness, look y'all. Look at that. Look at all those pockets. Oh my gosh. You guys did a great job. You did it. You did it. Okay. I had to go get one of our toy bins from when we were fostering. Okay, which one is cuter? The one we made or this wire one? I think the one we made. And look, it's got these pockets where you can take, like these little cards and stuff and just drop them in. If I can see. Just drop them in there. Oh my goodness. Look, so you got all those pockets for that. And look, if we put other toys in here, how cute is this? Oh my gosh. It's so cute. This is just so much cuter. Oh, we have a hanging arm. But look how cute that is. Look at all of that. Oh my gosh, y'all. So if you wanted to use it for toys, this is the large size. It works perfect. If you want to use it for makeup, see how the makeup looks in here? If I take this guy out, look at all those pockets. Oh my gosh, this is great. There's so much you can do with it. You can even use it for diapers. Like do a jumbo one and put wipes and diapers in there and have it on your little changing table just to make something a little different in the room. Anyhow, I love storage. I love organizing, and I hope this helps inspire y'all to do the same. And if you want to do this sew along, with our videos, you can grab this pattern at sewphoriastudio.com, as well as finding out anything else about us as we continue to grow and making patterns and creating some opportunities for you to learn the beginnings of sewing. And so anyhow, I'm so glad y'all hung out with me creating this. All right, until next time, I'll see you later, but keep creating. Bye.